right, welcome everybody. This is Tom Randolph from Golden Care. Want to welcome you to today's webinar and let you know I'm really excited to give this pivot webinar. It's been a long time since I've done a lot of webinars with Golden Care. We got a great team here, as you know. And before I get jumping in too much, I just want to let you know that if you're not already with us, which I assume most of you probably already are, but if you're not with Golden Care already, remember, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you to take that next step. Make sure you check us out. You can see our website information on top there and our phone number. And of course, once you go to the website, you'll see all the different tools that we have. And hopefully today, on top of all the tools you see listed there, you're going to see some other things about why Golden Care might be a nice match for you, because this is really a kind of unique concept. I'm really excited to do it because of the fact that we've if I can get my computer to play nice here and move along. There we go. Don't want you looking at my ugly mug there, but that's me, Tom Randall. I've been here for quite a long time at Golden Care in my 25th year, and I've been in the insurance business for a long time back in the training days with my brother Mark and another brother, and now we're here at Golden Care. And John Randall's one of the regional directors, a lot of you know, and my brother Mark, who was with Golden Care before he passed away. We've really got long-term care in our blood. And I have to give my friend there, George, you don't want to look at my ugly mug, so I have a running joke that I always put George Clooney up instead of having you stare at my face. But I do want to let you know, long-term care really has been in my blood. Long-term care is one of those things that's so important. If you remember COVID, and I know you remember it, but during COVID, there was a big nationwide retirement institute did a study with the Harris Poll, and 61% of people out there in America said they'd rather die than go to a nursing home. I mean, when you think of that, those type of things, it's pretty hardcore, and it surprised somebody like me who's been in this business so long, because of the fact that this is something that's really important for people out there, and it's something that we owe them as agents to go out and help people and educate them about long-term care and some of the options available to them. So that's what I'm going to show you today with this pivot presentation. And, you know, our number one thing we've always done at Golden Care is long-term care. So we do want to let you know that I'm going to show you how to use the concepts that I'm going to give you tomorrow when I show the actual presentation, and today when I show you the method to our madness. I just really want you to understand, obviously long-term care is great, and it's one of those things that's a great opportunity for people. So we have some great incentives. You can see on there our incentive going on this fourth quarter, where you can get $100 if you're new to long-term care, or if you increase your production from some of the past months, and you can see all the details when you get your information after this webinar. But basically, you can earn some really nice cash bonuses over and above your regular commissions. And we also have our other products, since I'm talking about pivoting based on health, and that's the concept we're talking about today. You're going to see we have some other great incentive programs, and they're not just all shown on this screen here, but we do have GTL, where you write one of the GTL products here, you can get up to $60 extra per app over and above your commissions. And True Freedom, which I'm going to show you a little bit about today as well, you're going to be able to have an opportunity to win some really nice things with this fourth quarter incentive that they have going on, $100 cash bonus, plus the opportunity to have a really, really nice digital platform that'll knock your socks off. So I'm not going to get into the details of that today, of course, but it is something we want to make sure you know. We take care of you out there at Golden Care, try to give you the tools to succeed and help people. But just as importantly, we try to go out and incentivize you to help you along your way as well, because we know it's not that easy out in the trenches. And that's really the concept that I'm so excited about with this pivot presentation, because if you look at long-term care, and I've been doing it a long time, but some of you on this phone call have been doing it just as long or longer. And you probably remember what we call the good old days, quote unquote, right? Where we were out there, long-term care was the thing, and we'd have people calling us begging for policies. And when you went out there, they threw the net wide, and you could go out and have a presentation, tell somebody about the need for long-term care, and really go into the nuts and bolts of it and end up selling just about everybody you talk to, right? I mean, there was obviously some underwriting back then. Some of the companies started getting tougher right away, but, you know, in the long run, you could go out and help a huge percentage of the people that you talk to. And in 2003, things started to change. This is now we started getting some of those legacy blocks of business going. We started seeing that the companies were getting some claims experience, right? All of a sudden, they started tightening things up a little bit more, and they started realizing, okay, we can't just sell long-term care to everybody who wants to get it. So we saw a lot more people who didn't qualify for product, and they ended up getting the declines, okay? And again, I just want to give a disclaimer that you'll get all these slides that I show you today, because I go through a lot of information in a short period of time. Obviously, pie charts aren't too complicated, but when we get into the deeper stuff, you will get the slides, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. But when we got to 2003, things started to change, and then we know today, when you look at the percentages out there, we know that there's a lot of people who can't qualify for long-term care. I've given over 100 live web seminars, for people for one of our big agencies out there in the past, and got to the point where you felt kind of bad. We talk about long-term care and how important it was, and then we realized that people out there, half of them, we just weren't going to be able to help. So it's one of the things you can tell, the meds, guess what? The pharmacy business is great. They're doing a lot of good things out there. Nowadays, nobody's diabetic, but everybody's pre-diabetic, right? You know that old thing nowadays when they say, hey, if your doctor tells you you're pre-diabetic and puts you on meds, guess what? You're probably diabetic. Same thing with the AAILTC. When you can see the stats out there, 44%, a little higher than that in some companies. 44% are getting declines or just don't qualify for coverage in the older folks. And then I already talked about that legacy block of business when companies started realizing that they were selling these 5% compound unlimited plans to people back in the good old days, quote unquote. Guess what? All of a sudden, those people are going on claim and they're having huge claims. So the companies realized, you know what? We have to put a lot of reserves away. So we're going to tighten things up and make it a little bit tougher. Okay. And I think I'm preaching to the choir here. A lot of you already know all this, but I just want to set the stage for what we're up to. Because what we really want to do with this pivot concept is really change the pie chart you see in front of you to really going back to the good old days and helping as many people as possible. Doing our job, going out, sitting in front of people or doing it over the internet, educating them and showing them why long-term care and why protecting their families is so important. Because when you look at the facts out there, and we know that as you get into presentations, 70% of the people over age 65 are going to need some type of care. And it's our job as agents to go out there and try to put something in place to protect those people and those families. Okay, so basically we're looking for a full paradigm shift. Back in the good old days, quote unquote, remember again, we had Genworth. A whole career shop at Genworth was out there selling just long-term care. They'd go out, they'd throw a mailer out there. They'd be getting their 8%, 9% response. They'd be cheesing. All the agents loved it because they'd go out and they'd sell policies left and right. So they didn't worry about the fact that, you know what, I'm going to lose some of these, but I got a whole stack of cards in front of me. I'm going to go to the next person, right? We call that skipping the meal altogether, right? The next one, we started teaching brokers in the last several years. You need to go out and set the table, man. You got to have the days of having just long-term care in your portfolio are gone. You've got to have the ability to pivot over and say, you know what, here's the deal. I'm going to get you this long-term care plan, and your health is a little bit shaky in some areas, but I think we can get you through. And I just want you to know, if you don't get this policy, let's start the process today. But if you don't get it, I've got some other policies that'll help you too. And what happens then? Way better than skipping the meal altogether. But I'll tell you what, a lot of times, what do people feel like? They get out there and they feel like they're getting the B team, right? You come back in, you got, well, here's the deal. I couldn't get you a policy, Bob. I got one for you, Linda, but Bob, you were just that diabetes a little too tough. So I do have another policy here that'll do something for you. Let me show you what it'll do. Bob gets bummed out. So that's what we wanted to stay away from, because even though that's better than skipping the meal altogether, you still are going to get some people feeling bad about it. What we want is that paradigm shift. And that's why I put this pivot presentation together with our team, is because I want to see if we can go out there and feed just about everybody, right? Let's not just set the table. Let's go out and do it right, and let's see how many people we can help. And when I say everybody, I mean almost everybody. I'm going to show you that in our perfect portfolio products here at Golden Care, and when we get into this pivot presentation tomorrow, I'm going to show you how it pivots to any different policy that we need to be able to help just about everybody, all the way from the top long-term care plans out there. Mutual of Omaha, obviously, we helped design it. So we love that plan, and it does great things. But if somebody doesn't have the health for it, we have other options for them, all the way down to True Freedom. True Freedom is a nationwide home care plan. It's not even actually a true insurance plan, but I'll tell you what, it's a prepaid home care plan that does such a great job. No medical underwriting, no rate forms, no available every state in the nation. And literally the knockout question is what you see on your screen there. I don't currently need help or assistance with activities of daily living. And that's how easy it is to be able to get that product. So you can tell everybody, and you'll see that in our presentation, that we can have the ability to help just about everybody. Step up from there, GTL's home care plan. Here's the knockout questions. Tell you what, talk about throwing the net wide. Number one says, are you in a nursing home, assisted living, are you receiving home care? Number 2 says, are you getting any help with activities of daily living, or are you cognitively impaired? That's it. If you're selling their top plan, Plan C, tell you what, it adds in one extra thing saying, oh, by the way, in the next couple months, do you plan on going to the hospital or having surgery, etc.? At that point, you just stop taking the app, and you know you can't get them that GTL home care plan. But I'll tell you what, that's a pretty wide net we're throwing, isn't it? That gives a lot of people the opportunity to be helped. So that's what I want to make sure you feel comfortable as we get into this today. And as I go into the presentation tomorrow, is that, remember, we have the products to fit just about everybody. I already talked about Mutual's long-term care. Obviously, we have NGL, Thrivent. We've got One America's Asset Care for the hybrid side. And we've got other products besides that. But I do want you to know, those are the main ones for the people who are the healthiest, and they have the most opportunity for the greatest protection for them and their family. If somebody's health isn't quite as good and they can't quite qualify for long-term care, or if they choose to get it to save a little bit of money, we've got our short-term care plans that are great. We've got Aetna, we've got GTL's Recovery Cash. And again, the Recovery Cash and Aetna's Recovery Care are 2 of the short-term care plans we have. You don't need to have every plan ever made out in the industry, folks. You just need to have some options for people based on their health. So we call this our perfect portfolio, right? Critical Cash, we helped design that plan with GTL for people who just weren't healthy enough, but it's a great plan that has some great opportunities for people over and above even what a long-term care plan can do in some cases. Then, if the health is a little bit worse, we've got our GTL home care plan. You just saw the knockouts for that. Very, very easy to get. Most people can get that plan. If you want to go all the way to the extreme, and again, you'll sell this to some healthy people too, because there's some great opportunities there. So I'm not trying to tell you, don't look at these products for any individual person. But as their health gets down, the options become more limited. And that True Freedom plan, the only reason that sucker's at the bottom is that thing is available to just about everybody. And it's really a great opportunity for people who just can't get coverage elsewhere. So we're really excited about the True Freedom opportunities as well. Okay? So let's go on from there. And I do want to make sure you know before I go too deep is that even the lighter underwriting products have a little bit of muscle to them, right? Because as you go out in the field, these percentage and pie charts is just an example for you. But basically, some of you are going to have much more True Freedom. Some will have much more One America. Some will have much more of the GTL and Aetna. But at the end of the day, this is kind of our pie chart that we put together saying, wouldn't it be nice to go out, do our jobs, roll them up, educate people, give agents like you the tools to go out and be able to help people with these different products and be able to help the huge majority of that pie chart, right? We're always going to have some people we just can't get something in place for them. But you know what? For most people, we have opportunities. Some of you agents are cynical and you're saying, yeah, but in all the states, they're not available. Well, remember, Mutual of Omaha is available in all 50. We've got One America is available in everything but New York. NGL is widely available and Thrivent widely available in almost every single state. And for the people who aren't as healthy, those get a little bit tougher. But if you look at this map, and again, I'll send this to you, you guys, the GTL home care is available just about everywhere. You can see the Critical Cash is available. There's very few white states, right? Florida, California are tough. If it looks or smells anything like long-term care and it's not true long-term care, those are an uphill battle. New York's the same way. But we do have it available in almost every state, wherever you might be in the trenches. We have products that can help those folks. I even put in state availability charts. You're going to see this is right inside our presentation tomorrow, but this is just a quick glance for you folks as we hand out the slides from this, showing each state which plans are available for you. Okay? Let's take a quick peek then today, just to show you that you can feel very comfortable offering any of these types of protection, especially when you get into the health side of it, realizing that, hey, you know what, you might look at some of these plans and say, well, that's not quite as good as a long-term care from Mutual. Well, of course it isn't, but you know what? Sometimes it's less expensive, and more importantly, sometimes people can't get it with their health. You buy these plans nowadays, what? More with your health in your checkbook sometimes, right? So remember that as you're looking through these plans. We have some great power protection plans for people, especially if you look at the fact that they can't qualify for something that might be better. Does that make sense? So if you look at Aetna Recovery Care, these are both short-term care plans. We usually train them together. We've got a great webinar that one of our RDs put on showing the differences between these two products side by side. Basically, to each its own. There's available in some different states, but we look at this plan and say, you know what, either one of these are great opportunities for your clients. You can see the GTL Recover Cash goes a little bit younger, and the Recovery Care goes a little bit older ages. The ratings are great. You can see the nursing home, and I'm not going to go through line per line on this today. It's not a product training as much, but I do want you to know you'll have these slides to show you that both these plans are very solid, great nursing home and assisted living protection. Both of them have a nice optional healthcare plan. Now, when you get into the differences, you're going to see that, you know what, Recovery Care probably has stronger on the healthcare side because of the fact that it's $1,200 per week versus $75 per visit. And GTL, on the other hand, has inflation available where the Recovery Care doesn't. So you can see different tastes for different folks. A lot of agents in our career shop look at this and say, for younger folks who need that inflation, I put on and do Recover Cash. And for some of the other folks, we do the Recovery Care. So the underwriting for these plans are fairly similar. And I'm going to show you tomorrow when I give you the presentation. All these tools are right at your fingertips. So anything you may need, you're going to be able to go and see. For today, because this is a handout, I'm not going to read this line per line. Don't worry. Don't hang up on me. At the end of the day, I'm just showing you these plans are much, much less hardcore on the underwriting side than what you see in long-term care. This is Recover Cash, short-term care from GTL. And you can see the knockouts. Some of the big issues are there, obviously, like we have in long-term care, but it's much, much less stringent than what you'd see in a long-term care situation. Then I did throw in the Recover Cash, some different things there as far as the different situations that might get declined. And then if you're looking at Aetna's Recovery Care, again, you can see much smaller app, not these huge apps you see with long-term care with a lot of questions, because again, the underwriting's a step down. It's not going to be as hardcore. So you can see here, I put right in for your future reference, the Recovery Care short-term care app showing those knockout questions, et cetera, where basically I even put in some little differences so you could really quickly see what's stronger in any different area. Again, tomorrow you'll see all this in the presentation. Very, very easy and packaged, so it's simple to look at any time. Next, we look at GTL's Critical Cash. Remember, this plan, is a policy that we put together because we work with Guarantee Trust, because we were out there doing these seminars actually and realized we need a backup product when people don't qualify for long-term care. And I think, hit a home run with this plan. I still love it to this day. It's a critical illness plan that has a ton of long-term care flavor to it. And I'll tell you what, if you look at this, this is an Excel spreadsheet we put together that's a rating that you can use with the consumers. It was approved by GTL for use with consumers. And in a nutshell, it looks busy if you're not familiar with the product, but I'll tell you what, $432,000 pot of money. And you can see there, if you end up with a diagnosis of any of those situations over there, you can see that it pays out either in a lump sum first time out or whatever your benefit is per month. And there's a lot of flexibility. This is just one example that you see on your screen here. But if somebody were to go out and end up having a stroke, for God's sake, or God forbid, I should say, if they have a stroke, they could get paid $1,000 a month, or they could have $24,000 lump sum paid out to them. Okay. Then if they need to go to assisted living or a nursing home, in this example, it's set at $2,500 and $5,000, they can get additional money to help them out even more. Okay. So don't worry much about the training of this, but what I want you to know is there's a huge crossover claims with long-term care when you look at a plan like this. And that's why I think we hit a home run with it, because if you look at it, you look at Alzheimer's, stroke, and cancer, you know what? That represents about 70% of every claim dollar paid in long-term care. Okay, and they're all covered here. You throw in heart attacks, tell you what, cancer, heart attacks, and strokes are representing 80% of all the new critical illness claims out there. That's why these products fit so nice together, because of that crossover of claims. Huge amount of people we can help, especially for the fact that we threw in Alzheimer's in there and said, you know what, if you get cancer, heart attack, stroke, the three biggest ones you're probably worried about, or if you have Alzheimer's, this product pays out pretty well. And it gives you that additional nursing home protection as well and facility protection. Okay. These next slides here, I'm going to go through really quickly. I do want you to know it's a little bit better in long-term care in some situations. There's no 2 of 6 ADLs to worry about, no 90-day care expectation. So with this one, it's a diagnosis of those critical illnesses. So there's times that, you know what, remember with long-term care, you have to be on claim to be able to get benefits from your policy. With this one, remember, it throws out the lump sum right away. So you could theoretically have a stroke. I just had my brother-in-law who had a stroke, an official stroke, would have paid out the full benefit amount. And you know what? He was more than good after a month. He was out there where he could go golfing again, et cetera. So if you're getting better in long-term care, the benefits stop. Obviously, with this one, it's a little bit different. It'll pay what it promises, regardless of how your health goes. Even if you die, it'll still pay. So that's one of the things that's nice. It's no chronic illness like we have with long-term care. Okay, so I'm going to get through that, and basically these next slides I'm just going to really zoom through to drive you nuts. This is something I just want you to see as you get these slides later on. The critical cash, this is right out of the mutual underwriting guide, showing some of the areas that you absolutely would have to run for the hills because we can't get long-term care in place. But with this product, we have some acceptable conditions that we can get them some coverage. All the way down to cancer, et cetera, you can have some differences in your plans. So if you're not familiar with GTL's critical cash or those short-term care products I already showed you, make sure you go on our website, and we have recorded training on all these different products to really let you know just how strong they can be for people. Okay. Next, let's look at that GTL home healthcare plan. You've already seen this slide. Excuse me. You've already seen this slide. Just shows you how easy it is and how wide they threw the net with this plan. I tell you, we saw a lot of this policy. We had Kemper's plan before. GTL came out with their home healthcare plan, kind of mirrored their benefits, made it a little bit stronger and more flexible. Kemper ended up stopped selling it because of the fact that I think GTL's home care kind of masters the market when it comes to this home care simple plan. And the net is thrown very wide, as we already know, just those knockouts. And at that point, you can get some really nice benefits in the plan. If you go with Plan C, check that out. You can get, for any of those covered services at home, you can get those $200 or $300 up to $450 per day. And the maximum period's a full year, so you can get $162,000 worth of benefit from this GTL home care plan. It's very, very affordable. Then home health care aid benefits. If you went with Plan C again, you can see there you can get $120 per day for 60 days. No prior hospital stay required. Kemper, remember, used to have, you had to go to a hospital for some states, or most states, I should say, in order to get that home health care aid. With this one, there's no prior hospital stay required, and you can get $120 per day or $7,200 for the 60 days for home health aid benefits. Obviously, those are popular. Okay. Then we have some optional riders available. Again, our agent training goes into all these with big detail, but you can see a great HI plan there, hospital indemnity. One of the strongest plans out there is with GTL, their Advantage Plus. And tell you what, they have a nice little HI plan built right in here as a rider. Critical accident, ambulance, return of premium, and a dental and vision. What do you hear about all the time in the news, and what are all the carriers coming out with? Dental and vision plans, right? With this policy, you can throw it on as a rider and get up to $1,200 per year just as a dental and vision rider, which people just really want to get nowadays because Medicare just doesn't cover that as well. Okay, so it's something that's really important. And again, nice little power pack plan there. Best thing about it, very easy to get, very affordable, and you have the ability to have the built-in prescription drug benefit built right into these plans. And tell you what, can't beat it because it goes $300 to $600 of reimbursement. People, if they're not healthy enough to get on long-term care or the short-term care products, guess what? Chances are they got a shoebox full of meds, right? When they get those refilled, they automatically can get a rebate from the company, and it can really make your net premiums very, very low. We have some examples of that in our training of this product. So some really good things you can do with a product like GTL's home healthcare plan. Finally, let's not forget about the good old True Freedom plan. Remember, we talked about this. This is not really even actually an insurance plan because there's no underwriting. This is kind of a prepaid national home care plan. And there's no medical underwriting. The rates aren't related. There's no claim forms. There's no age limits, and it's available in every single state. Doesn't get much better than that for throwing nets wide, does it? And with this plan, simple things that people need when they're in that custodial care situation. Guess what? Meal preparation is very important. I've got a 94-year-old mom coming up on 94 this year, and these are the type of things she gets in her assisted living, where she needs help with things like dressing and light housekeeping, assistance with bathing as her health gets worse. She may need monitoring of diet and foods. So this is one of the things that's really nice with a plan like this, is it can keep people at home and give them the ability to get some of these home care situations that are so important to them and so necessary to keep them at home. Plus, don't forget with these plans, very, very nice, strong coverage. You can see the Platinum plan, 10,000 hours of lifetime membership. That's how this works on an hourly type thing, you guys. And if you go into the training on this plan, you're going to see they're pretty robust. The Platinum plan, $250,000 current quote unquote lifetime retail value, which means 10,000 hours times even $25 an hour. It's $250,000 worth of value. The reason they say current is that, and guess what happens in the future? Home care gets more expensive. Then those hours are going to become more valuable even than they are today. So you can see here with the gold plan, you can get 6,000 hours, silver plan, 3,000 hours. And again, when you get into the product training here, you're going to see they do a smart job. They break up the benefit periods and separate them by 90 days so it's viable for the carrier. And the nice thing about this is I've done spreadsheets. I'm very analytical and I like my math. So I put together an Excel spreadsheet that we can have our team share with you that shows you that at the end of the day, no matter when you go on claim with these, I mean, this policy, that gold plan, tell you what, that thing, if you are a married couple and it's annual, you're starting out with like a 15% discount, and then it goes 10% discount for every year or up to the fifth year that you don't use it, 40% additional discount, because they don't want you to go use it the very first year you buy it, right? So if you go 4 or 5 years without using it, guess what? You can get that premium down for like the gold plan, for example, $1,800. That's a 55% discount off the retail price of that plan. So you can see very, very inexpensive, and most people are doing those big discounts because of the fact they don't use the plans right away. And I've done the math to show whatever care scenario you're in here, these things are working out where you're paying about 15 to 20% of the actual cost that you would have paid out of pocket. If even including all of your, including all of your premiums that you paid in, et cetera, they come out to be about, you're paying 20% or so of what you might be doing in a lot of different situations. So we can share that with you. And again, not here just to sell you on the True Freedom, but I know it's one of our newest plans that's been around a long time and it's proved itself, but it's one of the things we're really pushing lately because of the fact, especially with COVID, that we want to keep people at home no matter what if we can. Okay. So large and small, all of these things that I've been trying to put you to sleep with here this afternoon, at the end of the day, if you're not out there and if you're just selling long-term care, which guess what, I know a lot of you aren't, because we don't sell as much long-term care as we did in the old days. You know why? Because there's a lot of agents who sold long-term care back in the good old days, and they went out realizing that, hey, I can throw the net wide pretty much with long-term care and sell just that, and that's all I have to know is these 2 or 3 products. When things got tougher and when the government stepped in and made certifications and all that other fun stuff, we know that a lot of agents stepped away from long-term care and said there's other products that are easier to sell. Okay. And that's a shame to me because of the fact that the people still need it. Those stats don't change. We still have 70% of those 65-year-old plusers who are going to need some type of care. We need to roll them up and help them. And if you're out there just selling long-term care, guess what? You're not going to have any backup, zero, nothing, right? If we spread the net wider, we can help more people and we can make more money. Again, we know this isn't a hobby for you guys. We want you to go out, be successful, help people, and get rewarded nicely for it. That's why we put together tools like you'll see tomorrow with the pivot presentation, when I'm going to show you just how easy it is to walk through and sell any product that that person qualifies for to any person that you're sitting in front of or over the phone with. Okay. Before I get into that little intro to that today, I just want to remind you, one of the things we're having more and more agents do, our career shop's great at this, is selling combos. Imagine if somebody was going to get traditional long-term care, and we have a couple here. I don't even remember what age this was, but this is actual rates. If you had, 61-year-old female, there it is, $4,500 a month for $150, 3% compound, the premium $4,154. And if you had an alternate combo, and let's say that person, let's especially look and say that 61-year-old just couldn't end up getting that policy because of their health. Now look at the alternative. I throw in that critical cash, that critical illness plan we talked about that has a lot of long-term care flavor, does some things that long-term care can't even do. But if we threw that in as an 18-month plan with $1,000 base and $5,000 extra facility with a nice chunk of $324,000 bucket of money, that'd be $1,143. And then on top of that, I say, we'll even keep with the same company. I'm going to throw on a really nice little GTL home care plan. I call it a plus package because it has Hospital indemnity rider. If you go to the hospital, Medicare doesn't pay for all that. We get some deductibles covered. If you have an MA plan especially, it's great. And remember that dental and vision that we're all worried about? Tell you what, I threw on her $1,200 a year dental and vision. And I can throw that together for $1,254. So my total premium for that package, $2,397. A lot less than what we would have paid for the long-term care. And more importantly, that person couldn't even get the long-term care. And if you've got a presentation like I'm going to show you tomorrow that can walk you through these exact concepts and show you just how powerful these plans are, you're going to have a happy camper who's going to say, wow, you know what? I was worried about my health. I didn't think I'd be able to get a plan. Now, Joe came in here and showed me how to do it and showed me that I had pretty good protection after all. Okay? So tomorrow, I really recommend, hopefully you can get it. I know we'll record it. But I don't want you to get by that easy because I'd love you to jump on here and see this live, because I'd given the pivot presentation before when we had it partially done, and now we've worked really hard. Our team's put a lot of hours in to make this thing really sing and dance, and I'm really pleased with it. Again, it takes a lot to get me excited these days, and I'm really happy with where this presentation is sitting. And I'm going to show you tomorrow how to go through and pivot. It's November 18th, which is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central. You probably got the same invitation, and you'll get one with after this one if you attended. But basically, it'll show you, this is the actual slides from the presentation. It'll show you that right within this plan, you're going to tell people right at the beginning, before you go into all the need. You're not going to go in and tell them how great long-term care is and then pull the rug out from under them and say, nah, you wouldn't qualify anyway. Sorry, let's pivot. Nope. What this does is starts out saying you buy these things with your health more than your checkbook. So remember, before I even get too deep into this, I want you to relax. And remember, no matter where you're sitting, I can get some protection for you. Okay, so it takes that objection away right away, and it lets those people relax knowing you have some opportunities. Then tomorrow I'm going to show you all these different cool things. These little blocks down here, each one of those is a little link to another product, A, B, C, D, which will make total sense when you see it tomorrow. At any time, we can go and see a resources tab, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, or you can go right to the full suitability form if you want. And this little heart jumps us back to the health area at any point during the presentation. So basically what I'm doing is right all in one, everything you might need for a sale is going to be there. And I'm going to tell you why that's so important tomorrow as we get into this presentation. But basically it talks about health. It says the first thing I'm going to do is talk a little bit about your health. If you don't mind, here's the big knockout questions for long-term care. So if somebody says, oh boy, I got a couple of these issues, guess what? This is a great slide. Not all the slides by any stretch of the imagination are this busy, so don't panic about that. This one is just a really important slide because I've got a lot of stuff here. I've got my resources. I've got an online LTC underwriting site. I've got Mutual's long-term care underwriting guide. And down here tomorrow, I'm going to show you all these peripheral products. On top, I've got underwriting right within this presentation to quickly show you their underwriting. And right below the bottom part where it says HHC, CC, I'll show you tomorrow, that'll click you right to the needs part of that presentation. So you can skip right to that needs area if that's what works best for your client. You want to know if a product's available in your state? Click on the state flag there with the question mark. It'll show you which products are available in any given state. If you didn't do your homework before the call, you can do it during the call. Here's our long-term care suitability form. If you want to click that, you can quickly open that and fill it. And we have our blocks over here that go to other areas that I'll show you tomorrow as well. So lots of good things. When I talked about the resource, remember this one I showed you right here, this little white thing? Almost every slide in the presentation, if not every one, has a link to this resource page. The nice part about it is when you're out there presenting, I'm going to show you tomorrow, one of the ways we have to build trust, especially if we're selling over the internet, is we don't get to see all those facial clues. We don't get to see whether somebody's responding or buying what we're telling them, right? We're out there to educate them and to help them. And one of the ways we can get over that when we're doing online presentations, and I give Mike Johnson, one of our career agents, credit for really pointing this out, and it's obviously logical, but he did a good job of saying you need to have everything they possibly could ask you covered in your presentation. And that's what I did with my resources area here. You can see here all these different things. I'm not going to go into them today, but at any time you can go click on here and have instant access to anything you might want. Somebody wants to know about veterans, blah, blah, blah. It's all there. Okay. And the nice part about it, right in this presentation, I can go to this from any slide, and all I do is click last slide, and boom, guess what? I'm going right back to that spot in the presentation where I was, so I don't have to worry about losing my place. Okay, so I'm really excited about it. Like I said, if I was an agent in the field, in the trenches today, this would be just an invaluable tool for me to be able to go out and do what I'm trained to do, is go out and help as many Americans as I can, especially during these desperate times when so many people are turning with a lot of gray hair in America. And if you're not helping them, I guess what? There's a lot of people who just don't have the conversation. 90% of Americans never have a conversation about long-term care. So if you don't do it, guess what? Nobody's gonna. And by the way, I'm going to throw in a little pitch for another program we have, our referral program. If you're out there and you're saying, you know what, Tom, this is great, but I just don't do a lot of long-term care, it's just not my wheelhouse, guess what? We've got a referral program that'll pay you a tremendous amount of money on referral fees just for saying, I'm going to sign up as a referral partner, I'm going to send over my referral lead, and I'm going to have one of Golden Care's top longevity specialist agents talk to that person and go through and find out if they can help them. And you're going to make not like, $40 for it. This is one of those things in most states, you could make $1,000 plus on a long-term care sale. So a lot of good things going on. All the things you see on this slide are just more reasons that you need to take the next step and get part of Golden Care if you're not already. And again, I want to stress tomorrow, make sure you show up for that webinar. I hope that you will. And everybody attends that webinar course, and our Golden Care agents will have access to that pivot presentation as well. So that being said, I'm going to try really quick here, if I don't interrupt things too badly, to see if there's anybody typed in questions. We got some different things for GTL in Florida. I'm going to let you check that. Tell you what, I don't have many people. If you have questions in there, as we send it out, I'll have my RDs check the questions and make sure they get back to you. But otherwise, I do want to let you know, this is Tom Randolph from Golden Care. Again, I can't stress enough how much I appreciate you taking part of your valuable time out today to jump on here and let me yap at you a little bit. And I really hope that you're going to take advantage of these tools we have. We've got a whole bunch over and above what you're going to see here, and we've got links to them in this pivot presentation tomorrow, where you're going to have access to a lot of these different things as well. So I really hope that you'll have the opportunity to help more people with it. And I hope that you'll take the opportunity to give us a call at 800-842-7799. I've got the best team in the market out there ready to help you with my regional directors and my marketing team here. So we've got the team to help you. And I want to thank you, every one of you, for showing up today. And remember, you'll get those slides afterwards based on the email that you sent in with. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Check out our website, goldencareagent.com, or give us a call at 800-842-7799.